All right, we are live following Game 2 of the World Series. The Blue Jays fall. What was the final score there? 5-1 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Got a little bit ugly towards the end. Disappointing result, to be sure. Um, yeah, just not the way we've seen the Jays play throughout this run. And yeah, I think the best way to describe it is disappointing. Mac, how are we feeling? Other than bad.
Yeah, I mean I tried not to get up too much last night after, the magnificence of last night. Because playoff baseball just can't get up, can't get down. Tonight you just got beat by a really, really good starting pitcher. That's what happened. Great job by Yamamoto. I don't ever want to see him again. Probably will at some point in this series if it keeps going. But and the Jays answered with their best, like a great performance from Kevin Gausman too. Just wasn't good enough to beat what Yamamoto gave for the Dodgers tonight. So I mean, you have to expect that this wasn't going to be a walk in the park 4 game sweep series. This is how the Dodgers win baseball games, with really, really good starting pitching. They have 4 good ones. We've seen a good one last night, seen an even better one tonight, and they're going to get wins. They got to win tonight that way. So it is disappointing. I'm not going to disagree with that sentiment, but um, it happens. Dodgers are a really, really good team. This is the best of the best. We just seen a magnificent starting pitching performance, complete game in the World Series by Yamamoto. It happens. It's best of 5 series now, and you just pick up from here.
Yeah, you got to pick up from here. We've seen the Jays move on quickly from losses, and we watched the Jays lose the first two at home in the championship series against Seattle. And everybody, of course, knows how that series ended and what went on from there. So they're in a much better position leaving Toronto in the World Series than they were in the ALCS. And you go get one win in LA, and you guarantee yourself two. Right? Do you guarantee yourself 2 games in Toronto if you go get one? No, but you guarantee yourself at least one more in Toronto, and that's all you can ask for, right? So they did, they did their job. It's not worst case scenario. You would have liked to see. I don't even want to say a better effort. Like I didn't think the approach was that bad. Like, did Yamamoto even get into 100 pitches there? Like barely, if he did at the end of that game. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
he was just
they're
really, really good. Like,
he was just really, really good, and that's kind
mhm.
of the end of it. Like the first inning was a little reminiscent of last night. The first inning they had off Snell, they did make Yamamoto throw 23 pitches, but they just made him expand his pitch selection early. He got that situation early with Vlad, runners on the corner, 1 out. Made a really, really good pitch to him, and that was the start of seeing tons and tons of breaking pitches from him. And he just expanded his arsenal as the game went on, got stronger and stronger as the game went on. And Jay's bats by the 7th inning were just pretty flummoxed at the plate. There were
Mhm.
just pitches that were just kind of going over the heart of the plate. They were just not knowing what's coming. I don't even feel qualified to talk about Yamamoto's starts. He's got such an arsenal of pitches that he just kept the entire Jays offense off kilter today. They're trying to hunt and sit on that fastball, but he's got so much that he can throw for strikes, keeping him off balance all night. Um, like for the Jays, just continue doing what you're doing moving forward on offense. Don't get down from tonight. You just got beat. It happens, especially this time of year. Good starting pitching is going to beat anything, and that's what Yamamoto did tonight. That's a start that you'll be talking about for a long time in the World Series if the Dodgers end up winning this, because that's a huge start from him. Absolute kind of felt like a must win for them, and a clutch performance, complete game, completely baffled the Jays.
Yeah, the final line on Yamamoto is 9 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, not a single hit allowed after the third inning, just the one earned run that the Jays did cash in the third inning on the Kirk sack fly. Did not allow a walk and struck out 8. He was, to say the least, dominant. And I think it was the Jays' first time ever seeing him, and the Jays do tend to capitalize as they get later in games, but it just didn't happen for them tonight. And we know Yamamoto's had an incredible playoff run so far. We saw he pretty much did the exact same thing to the Brewers in the NLCS, and it's the first time that a pitcher has thrown back-to-back complete games in the playoffs since Curt Schilling did it in 2001 for the Diamondbacks. That's a pretty insane stat, if you ask me. And I think, and I hate to use the line, but I think you have to tip your cap a little bit to Yamamoto tonight. Coming into the series, I thought Yamamoto was probably the worst matchup for the Jays just on paper, and it definitely played out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the best of what the Dodgers have, and like you say, he's the first since Schill to do that in 2001. And I remember that playoff run. Like Curt Schilling was so dominant for Arizona that year, and to do something that hasn't been matched since, I think kind of speaks to just how well Yamamoto's been pitching in this playoffs. And tonight's performance was the best that he's been thus far too. And yeah, I mean, 100% tip your cap to him. He did win this baseball game for the LA Dodgers. He beat the Toronto Blue Jays thoroughly for 9 innings, and yeah, I mean that happens in the postseason. It's disappointing, but it happens.
Yeah, are you disappointed? And like especially not in the like obviously it's not like it's baseball, man. It's not an effort thing. Like those guys are out there trying as hard as they can, and a lot of guys it's to try easier sport. But like, were you disappointed in the lack of execution in the first inning? Like they had first and third, nobody out. Springer led off with a big loud double, and then Nathan Lucas got on base. Like and then like Vlad just like the at bat. Like, and obviously Yamamoto tied him up with a bunch of splitters in there. Kirk hit
Yep.
a soft line out, and then Varsho looked at a breaking ball over the middle of the plate, like completely buckled and froze him. Like, just like it's innings like that, especially with the result. Knowing now, like I would love to have that back, and I think if the Jays knew the
Yeah,
result, they'd probably execute a little bit better there.
yeah, but if we didn't come back and have the sixth inning that the Jays had last night, we might be talking about that first inning as being a missed opportunity from
Yeah,
last night.
absolutely.
So I don't know. Like you said, Vladdy got tied up with a bunch of splitters. He made a really good pitch to get Vladdy out. He Jays did force him to kind of expand and get in deep into his arsenal early, and he pitched himself out of a jam. We've seen Yasevich and guys do it in this postseason. They get in a bit of trouble, pitch out of it. And I thought that was just what Yamamoto did. The Varsho curveball too, like just froze him. It was just a really,
Hmm.
really good pitch. Something maybe the first time that you're seeing Yamamoto as a pitcher, you're not expecting this. You're making him pitch to you, maybe something that you're not seeing on tape because you're forcing
Hmm.
him in a situation early where he needs to pitch out and pitch in a high leverage situation. So, yeah, you look back on it for sure. That first inning's going to look like a bit of a missed opportunity. But I mean, that ball game to me wasn't won or lost there. It was going to be one of those slug fests. Whoever got the last punch in, and tonight that was the Dodgers. So, yeah, I don't think for me personally upset at what the Jays did at the plate or anything tonight. It's just, yeah, like we said, ran into a buzzsaw, and that buzzsaw is Yamamoto tonight.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Uh-huh. It does suck. Like you would have loved the opportunity to be up 2-0 going to LA. Obviously not the way it played out for the Jays. And the one positive I do have on the offensive side is we talked about Vlad getting tied up with a bunch of inside splitters and inside pitches in his first at bat. The adjustment he made in his second at bat to mash a 113-mile-an-hour line drive off the left field fence, like feet away from a home run, like probably 1 degree of launch angle away from a home run. Awesome swing, great adjustment by Vlad there. Unfortunate that that was kind of like the last of it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that one you could see because it was an inside fastball. Vlad really got his hands inside to drill it, and it was a great
Yeah,
piece of hitting. But showed that they were sitting and waiting and expecting for that fastball, and that bit of the jam that Yamamoto got in the first inning, where it forced him to expand and start throwing his breaking pitches for strikes. Um, yeah, I think he realized early in the game he can't rely on his fastball as much. So the Vlad at bat, it was a great turnaround on that fastball. It's just they didn't get a lot of opportunities to spin around on that pitch. So
yeah, exactly, and yeah. So Yamamoto threw um, just oh sorry, I lost it here. He threw 32% splitters and 24% fastballs. So clearly the game plan was to go soft against the Jays, and at times that has not been a massive problem for the Jays, but like you could kind
They've
of
been
tell
hitting the
that they were.
fastball well.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
the game plan, if that was the game plan, they did force him early to get away from that, just the way they were going after the fastball. And as the night went on, seventh, eighth, ninth inning, he just had them completely tied up at the plate. It didn't seem like they really had much of an idea. It was just one of those nights where it just needed to end, just so you can kind of move on. And I mean, I have no doubt that this team will just continue to make whatever adjustment they need to make it for the next game. David Popkins has done a great job. We haven't talked enough about him getting guys ready. You just got beat by a better pitcher tonight. I think simple as that, and you just get ready for whoever the Dodgers have in Game 3.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't really anticipate much panic. We saw it in game one where Bryce Miller in this game did kind of remind me of the Bryce Miller start, like where the Jays were putting the ball in play. Obviously, more strikeouts. 8 strikeouts is a lot. That's more than we've seen the Jays strike out for most of this season, and definitely in the playoffs. But I think a lot of those came later in the game. So like during the middle innings, like it did kind of remind me like outs early in counts, weak contact, pop ups, stuff like that. And then we know how that series ended and the adjustment that the Jays were able to make later on there. So yeah, I'm not really anticipating much panic. I'm not really anticipating like in game 3, 4, and 5. I'm expecting the Jays to be exactly what we've seen them be throughout most of this playoff run. So yeah, honestly, I don't want to talk about Yamamoto anymore. Probably see him in
No,
my
I'm good.
nightmares tonight. Um, I think the biggest thing for me is it's disappointing we're not talking about an awesome Kevin Gausman start.
Yeah.
Kind of blew up on him towards the end there. The final line is going to be 6 2/3. Gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Obviously, 2 of those coming on homers in the 7th inning. Did not walk a batter. Struck out 6. He was awesome tonight. And tell me why it's the Jonas Brothers' fault that Kevin Gausman got into some trouble.
Yeah, it's 100% the Jonas Brothers' fault, right? Like, what are we doing with that? But yeah, great job by Kevin Gosman. Just a tremendous job. He got down early. It wasn't really his fault. It was two good at bats by the Dodgers. The Freeman double was a really good splitter down and away, and then the slider to Smith was off the plate, and he just knocked it for a single. Not much he can do there, but you're pitching down now, and then he just matched Yamamoto. And by the time the Jays tied the game in the 3rd inning on that sac fly, it just seemed like we were going match for match, inning by inning, and you can't
Mm-hmm.
ask much more for your starting pitcher Kevin Gausman to match what Yamamoto was doing on the other side. Gausman, a couple times tonight, like he relied on his fastball a lot tonight, and there was a few deep flyouts throughout the game. So getting bit by that home run twice in the 7th maybe was just something he was living a little dangerously on all night. But what else can you ask for? It was really, really awesome to see Kevin Gausman tonight. And you wish he got a better result. You just see how amped up he was before the game, smelling the baseball, muttering to himself as he's staring down the Dodgers. And his performance tonight matched how he was on the mound. He was a bulldog. He was your ace tonight. Unfortunate that they didn't get the win, but he did what he needed to do. He kept the Jays in that ball game up until that 7th inning. And really, at that point, if your offense isn't producing, getting any runs, it didn't really matter at that point in the game. Gosman did his job. He did really well tonight. And I wish he got a better result.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Brady Skinner wants to know if we think the Jays should consider shaking up the batting order. And I don't think so. I think it's gotten you this far, and it's been pretty unreal. I think the guys who have needed to do it big have done it big when they needed to do it. Um, and I think later in the series, if you see a couple more results like this, maybe. At the same time, I think I'm willing to give this one to Yamamoto. Mac, what do you think? Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah,
is tonight. Don't panic. I mean, it's a 7 game series, right?
yeah,
Like we talked a little bit about that Seattle series. Like we were talking after those first 2 games against Seattle. things were looking bleak. So the series changed really, really quick. There's lots that happen. We're probably not even going to really think about these first two games, in all honesty, once this series is complete. They only have a small piece in the series. So 100% just chalk it up to Yamamoto just being really, really good tonight. There was nobody had a game at the plate tonight where I thought, get him out of there, get this guy up in the order or anything like that. Just get your best nine out there. John Schneider's been doing a really, really good job at writing the best nine on his starting lineup card every night and go at that at game 3 against Glasgow.
Exactly. I think that's the way it's going to be. Glasnow is going to be tough, man. Tough customer, but yeah, what are you going to do? Mason wants to know why they flip-flopped Scherzer and Bieber. What are our thoughts? I think an extra day of rest for Bieber, not a bad idea. Didn't look great in Game 7. Or did he? Well, he was okay. Like, I think the results were better than he looked in Game 7. Um, and he's still coming off Tommy John, right? Like, building back up. And Scherzer has not pitched in a while. He has not pitched since, was that Game 4 of the Seattle series? So it's been, like, we're getting probably closer to 2 weeks than 1 week on that now. And Scherzer looked really, really, really good. And Bieber looked just okay. And I think it's as simple as that. I don't think there's much more. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, a couple thoughts. I guess you kind of touched on it. We don't really know what kind of throwing programs these guys are going on, their days off and things like that. Like, yeah, it's been a long time for Scherzer. Bieber coming off the injury, you got to pitch the guys when they're most comfortable. And the only people that know that really are John Schneider, Pete Walker, and the pitchers themselves. So definitely a big, big factor in the decision. I was a little surprised just at the fact that, yeah, Shane Bieber's the better pitcher. Don't like want to get him out in front of things a little bit more just in case you need to use him later in the series. If tonight's an indication, we might be going 5, 6, 7 games, right? So get Bieber in, make that game 3 start just to have him available should something go down the line. But I think why they flip flopped is a little why they also did it with Trey starting game 1 and having Gosman tonight, because game 4 now becomes a really, really big matchup. Whether you're up 2-1 or down 2-1, I think having Shane Bieber make that game 4 start, much like having Kevin Gosman be that game 2 start, should they Jays be down 1-0 tonight, have your kind of better starting pitcher and guy that you can push deep into the ball game in that game where it's just a little more leverage on it. So I think that's probably played a little part in pushing the Shane Bieber to game 4 as well.
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind it at all. It's going to be Bieber versus Otani, as Simon is saying. It's going to be primetime stuff. Shohei Otani does terrify me on the mound. I think he's very gettable. Like obviously he's an unreal baseball player, just full stop. But I think, and we're going to talk about it probably after Monday night's baseball game. We'll do a little bit of a preview for Tuesday's baseball game. That'll be Game 4, and that'll be the Otani versus Bieber game. Just a little spoiler alert for that pod or in that live stream. I think Otani's a little bit gettable. But yeah, it's gonna be a long series. Like, these games are exhausting, man. Like, I get on here like tired, like just after watching them. Like, they take
Yeah.
it out of me and they're stressful.
Yeah, it's what World Series baseball is, I guess. I'm still kind of getting used to it myself. I feel like, because yeah, I mean, it just feels like another Blue Jays game. Really, they've been playing well most of the year. It just seems almost like another series. You keep reminding myself that this is the World Series. This is it. This is the end all be all. So, they're right there with the Dodgers. Probably my biggest takeaway from the games this weekend, games 1 and 2, is the Jays are right there. The series is winnable. They just got to have a better performance against the starting pitching. And when the starting pitching is like it was tonight for the Dodgers, that assignment's really, really difficult. But just keep it up, have a better at bat against Glass now, and hope game 3 goes your way.
Absolutely. Here's to more Snell and less Yamamoto throughout the rest of the series. Okay, so final note on Gosman, and then I want to do a couple more things on the bullpen, and then we'll get out of here. Probably a little bit of a shorter one tonight. So Gosman retired 17 straight before allowing the homer to Will Smith. that was like he just looked really, really good. And then a couple batters later, obviously the Max Muncy homer made it 3-1 at the time. Then Louis Varland came into the game. I think it's disappointing that Kevin Gosman's praises are going to go, for the most part, unsung, and he's going to pick up the loss, like so, as they should, I guess. I think the Jays have really not been great in Kevin Gosman starts. Like they lost his first start um, against the Mariners, obviously in Game 1, and did they lose? He started Game 5, right?
Yeah, and
They
yeah, I
lost that
mean,
one too.
yeah, and yeah, he needs a bit more support for sure. But
Yeah,
when that's against Yamamoto tonight, that's hard. So Gosman did his job, 17 in a row. Like that's incredible. He matched Yamamoto step for step right through the sixth inning, and at that point, really, it's up to the Jays to kind of get Yamamoto out of that game. That's where this series is going to be the turning point for the Jays when they can get out of the Dodgers starter and into the bullpen, and they just weren't able to find a way tonight. And it's not a slight or a criticism towards them. That's just how good the starting pitching for the Dodgers was. But yeah, really, really good job by Kevin Gosman. It's a shame that it's not going to be remembered as the start it was, just because he has the L attached to it. But not much more you can ask from your starting pitcher tonight, and it's big in a series like this. It is. They Jays didn't have to use too much out of their bullpen, outside of some guys that they did have planned for tonight to begin with, and didn't turn into a slop game that way. So great job by Gosman. Just as I said earlier, wish he had a better result.
yeah. So Kevin Gosman gets pulled after 6 2/3. Louis Varland comes in, gets out of the seventh, comes back out for the eighth, gives up 2 hits and a walk, leaves with the bases loaded and 1 out. Jeff Hoffman comes into the game, and the game does kind of come unglued a little bit here. Kind of the dagger gets delivered. The wild pitch allows a run to score. Kind of, I sung his praises all night last night, and then Kirky kind of let me down a little bit on that one. Might have hit Freeman, and it took a funny bounce on him. Anyways, and then obviously the Andres Jimenez pretty uncharacteristic play. Thought he had time to get second place, get a double play on a ground
Yeah,
ball. Flipped it to Bo at second, and really just didn't have enough time. Would have had an easy out at the plate, right?
yeah, he probably did. I thought when I seen the replay that Jimenez, because the Jays were playing the infield in there, he just kind of lost track of himself on the field, his positioning. Like it was a decently hit ball. They were saying on the broadcast like it was a little slower hit ball, but it was a two hopper. But when he turned around, the underhand toss to second was just so slow that he wasn't gonna have a chance to make that double play. So if he's playing in normal depth, that's probably an easier turn for those guys. So I can see why his reaction off the bat playing that ball was to make that play, but it just seemed like maybe he got a little lost where he was on the diamond, because yeah, the right play there would have been to go to home plate and try to cut that run down, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not turning two in that situation, letting the Dodgers get the extra run. If the ball game didn't already feel over, that was the last straw.
Yeah, and just again disappointing, uncharacteristic of Jimenez. He's been unreal at shortstop. Well, and just defensively all season, and especially at shortstop in the playoffs in the absence of Bo Bichette. So, like, I don't want to bury him for it. It's not like it cost the Jays a game. They're
The
they're not
game
winning this
happens
game.
fast, right? Like it,
Yeah.
it,
Oh
it
yeah.
happens fast. So it's a split second decision. That's a play he normally turns two on, and just kind of getting lost where he is on the diamond. Yeah, like you said, no need to bury him, but it tough play. It's kind of a little indicative of how that baseball game finished up for Toronto.
Yeah. Another question on the bullpen here is like I was kind of curious what you thought of them using Varland and Hoffman down. I didn't mind Varland coming in, especially when it was a 2-run game. And I didn't hate them. Like I don't get me wrong. I didn't hate them bringing in Hoffman to try and keep that game in close, especially with the bases loaded in the eighth. But at the same time, I would rather hide him. I guess. I guess you don't want him to go too long without pitching. Like I don't want the Dodgers to get to
Yeah,
see Hoffman 100 times in this series, especially like if it goes the way this looks and we get a 6-7 game series. You know what I mean? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you can bring Hoffman in there, or if you don't, you're kind of punting the game at that point, right? So, um, if you felt like you still had a chance and it was just a couple run disadvantage there, you got to go to Hoffman in that situation. And I think we overplay a little bit of seeing this guy a little too much. It's a 7 game series. You're gonna have to throw your best arms in those situations. And yeah, I think with Hoffman too, you want to make sure he's pitching on somewhat of a regular schedule, getting him into some situations to pitch. Because yeah, if he's coming off a lengthy layoff, I don't know. I guess it would be 7, 8 days by the time the game 3, 4 roll around. You don't necessarily want that either, and he wasn't necessarily sharp tonight, so you do kind of want to get him into games. So yeah, I mean, either or there. I think you could make an argument. You can bring Dominguez in that spot as well. But just as much for Hoffman, if you're kind of wanting to hide him for guys, you're probably wanting to do the same for Dominguez. So at some point, you've got to pitch your guys, and I was fine with them using Hoffman there in the eighth.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. I don't love it. Again, the circle of trust is obviously just minuscule at this point for John Schneider. And like we talked about this after maybe game 6 or game 5, that like it's literally just Varland, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and then Hoffman, and then like Chris Bassett maybe. Like
Yeah, like who do you go to? Like I was a little laughing at myself a little bit last night. Come on here, and I'm after the game we watched last night. I'm mad at Braden Fisher for walking a guy on 4 pitches when he comes into the ball game. Well, what does he do tonight? He comes
exact
in the
same
ninth.
thing.
He walks the guy. Same thing. So who else can you put in these circumstances? Because yeah, like with Fisher, it seems like he needs to get hit in the same spot Little's hiding out in the bullpen, where you're just not using these guys right now if that's how they're going to come in and pitch. So Schneider's hands are a little tied with who he can deploy, but that's fine. That's what happens at this time of year. You kind of get down to 7, 8, 9 pitchers that you can only trust and use and that are throwing well enough. So yeah, Hoffman's got to come in. That situation he did tonight, bases loaded, is 2 run game. I'm okay with it, and he's gonna have to come in and pitch in those situations, and he's gonna have to pitch in those situations later in this series against guys that he's seen for a second, third time in a week.
Yep, absolutely. It really, and this is a name we haven't said or heard in a while, but it really makes you like kind of wonder like, what does this team look like? What does this bullpen look like if Jimmy Garcia is healthy? You know what I mean? And obviously, like, Dodgers are missing Vesia. They've got Tanner Scott not on this, and he's making, or not on their World Series roster, and he's making all the money in the world as a reliever. Like, so like both teams are banged up. Obviously, I think the Jays are more banged up between what Bo's dealing with, and obviously not having Santander on the roster, and Jimmy Garcia, and that's the point of this point is I think Jimmy Garcia would have made a huge difference in this playoff run.
Big difference. We probably haven't talked about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Just what his absence has done to this bullpen, having that guy in the seventh, eighth inning that is reliable, like Garcia has been and shown. So, yeah, Dominguez has done a really good job at the deadline. Barlin to an extent too, coming in and picking up some of those innings. But yeah, absolutely, this spot, this situation in where you're at in the season, Jimmy Garcia is a big loss at this point because that's a situation tonight where he could have came in where it's a 3-1 game, bases loaded. That's something that I think you trust Jimmy Garcia to pitch in, and then for somebody that feels like you want to save Hoffman, there's an opportunity where you can do so.
Yeah, and I don't want to dread on that too much, but it's just like it's a point worth raising. I thought, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else tonight? I obviously pretty short here after a loss. Oh, Mason has a question in here. He wants to know how the Jays match up against Glasnow. Um, does he throw 15 different pitches like this Yamamoto creature? No. So Glasnow is going to be good fastball, mixing a sinker, and then he's a spin guy, so he's going to be throwing sliders and curveballs. And when he's on, he is completely nasty. We remember him from the Rays, so the Jays have seen a lot of him. And it seems like he's had success against the Jays a fair bit. I think the Jays saw him in the regular season too. So, and I can't remember how that went exactly. It's a really, really long season. But without having dug into it too much, that was my plan for the day off tomorrow. I think obviously Jay's lineup shows up like we've seen them show up the vast majority of this run. They're going to give them a really, really, really difficult time, and do their thing.
Yeah, just forget about tonight and carry on like you have most of this postseason. Seattle offered lots of strong pitching too, so just carry on. Glasnow, yeah, I mean he's going to be tough, like you said. He's got a good mix of stuff. He's got a really good fastball. But yeah, I think just try to just continue doing what you're doing, get good at bats. It's not going to be as tough as it was tonight. I think that'll be the one thing that'll be nice for game three is it's not going to be as flummoxing, I hope, as Yamamoto was, but it's going to be another tough assignment. Like I said, this is how the Dodgers win games. It's with their starting pitching. They have four big starting pitching. They pay them a lot of money, and it's won them a lot of games to get them to this point. Won them a game tonight. So definitely the possibility with that again, game three with Glasnow. He's a really good pitcher. But you just got to have trust in your guys and trust the process that's got you to this point and just continue to do that.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna win the series, you got to get to at least a few of these starting pitchers. So I think Glasnow, well, he is good. I think the Jays, if they're gonna win, they got to get to him. So,
Yeah,
um,
and get to him like you kind of got to Snell, right? Like I
yeah,
think the big
exactly.
thing for Toronto is just find a way to get into the Dodgers bullpen. We didn't force them to get any outs out of their bullpen tonight, because Yamamoto pitched so well. But if you can find a way to get Glass now, even if he's pitching well, find a way to get him out fifth, sixth inning somehow, get into that bullpen, and then if your starting pitching was as good as it was tonight for Toronto, then that's gonna give you an opportunity to win the game in the later innings. But you got to find a way to get the starting pitchers out for Los Angeles.
Yeah, and Sarah wants to know if we think Bichette will be in the starting lineup for Game Three. I suspect yes. Day off tomorrow. Lots of treatment on that knee. Get him right. The lineup, just like on paper, just looking at it makes you feel better with Bo Bichette in that cleanup spot. Obviously, he's not looking too good, but I was encouraged that he was able to pinch hit tonight and then stay in the game for defense. So yeah, I suspect we'll probably see Bo Bichette. Like if he's got it, like it's kind of use it or lose it at this point. It's the World Series, so like if you don't have to save him, don't save him. Mac, you kind of agree there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to know without really knowing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going through Bo Bichette, why he didn't start tonight, why it was a pinch hit opportunity versus a start last night. So there's obviously something going on there with how they're managing his injury. But yeah, if he's good to go, if he's 80% ready to go, I think he needs to be starting and put him out at second base. He's looked fine there when he's had to make some plays. And yeah, I mean, you need your big guns, you need your best players out there and giving them an opportunity to produce. So Los Angeles has got a lot of guys up and down their lineup. Yeah, that Toronto lineup it looked a lot better with Bo Bichette in it last night, batting behind Vladdy. So if he's ready to go, there's no reason not to have him there. But yeah, it's hard to say without really knowing what the extent of his injury and what he's playing through right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We are not in the know, and probably nobody is in the know except for Bo. Sorry for the rhyme there, and the Blue Jays medical staff and Josh Hader and the coaching staff. Yeah, I hope we see Bo because he's such a big part of this team, right? And he's an awesome player, an awesome hitter, and can really help out here. Do you have anything else tonight?
Yeah, just having a look. No, I mean not really. Joe Carter was pretty cool tonight. Like that was pretty sweet seeing him throw out the first pitch, putting on the home run jacket. Even if you're not a big fan of the home run jacket and all that stuff, that was pretty cool seeing Carter put that on and run up and down the tunnel. Yeah, I kind of said it last night, like just seeing the 92, 93 teams around. Carter even said it pregame when he was talking with Hazel and Caleb, just that maybe guys can finally stop talking about me and start talking about this year's team in the same context. So yeah, it was just kind of a cool blending of eras for me, same as seeing Cito throw out the pitch last night, but just cool seeing Joe Carter back in Toronto for a World Series, and yeah, it was a great interview. I thought he had on Sportsnet. And another thing we probably haven't talked enough about on here, just what a treat it is to have Sportsnet doing these broadcasts. Like very, very fortunate to have our local broadcast team do these games, and they've been doing phenomenal. I mean, Dan and Buck, tremendous. I thought Buck's been so good this postseason, and Dan's obviously an S-tier announcer, and Jamie Madison and Joe do such a good job as well breaking down games. I thoroughly enjoyed the pregame show. I don't watch a whole lot of pregame shows anymore because of the level of analysis that's often given. But even Caleb and Kevin Pillar, like Kevin Pillar is obviously very new at this, but they're showing really good self-awareness and stories about their playing careers and how it relates to the Jays in the postseason right now. And that's what you want to hear from your former players when they're on the broadcast and speaking. And so, yeah, it's been great being able to watch these games on Sportsnet, and they're doing a great job. And see a lot of fans from other fan bases saying that they hope Toronto fans know how lucky they are to have their local broadcast team doing playoff games and doing the World Series. And just wanted to shout out that, yeah, we do feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sportsnet broadcast is always great throughout the regular season, and it's I've definitely taken a step up in the postseason as well. Mason wants to know who's going to throw out the opening pitch in Game 6. Give it to Cito again? Like they're 1-0 in Cito games. I don't know. They're kind of running out of guys. They've ran out everybody. Like, do we need like somebody else from that 92, 93 team? Like, I don't know. Like a
Dave
Devon
Stewart.
White? Yeah, Stewart. I don't know. Dave
Yeah, I
Steve.
mean
Like,
that's going to be a big game assignment. Like they ran out the best two, or the two that come to mind for sure, in game 1 and 2. They went Estrada for game 7 in the ALCS, so you wonder if there's a pitcher. I maybe Dave Steve, that I think would get a lot of people excited for that. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. You got Pat Borders, 93 MVP. He could always come in.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't
That'd be
know.
awesome.
Like there's a lot of guys. Olerud.
Haven't heard from Olerud in years. I really wish Doc was around to do it. Honestly, I think
Yeah.
that would obviously we're getting to a really depressing part of this episode, this live
You,
stream.
you
But
would you would think the way they've been doing it, it'll be somebody from 92 or 93.
yeah,
So for a game 6, I would think it would be a pitcher, maybe a big game pitcher. I don't know. Do we want to see Jack Morris? How are we with Jack Morris? I don't know.
I don't know.
Dave Cone.
I was not nearly around. Chris says we need a Buck Martinez first pitch. I
Yeah,
think that's a take that
there
I
we
had
go.
actually. I
There we
really
go.
want to see a Buck
That's who
Martinez
we're saving.
first.
That's who we're saving.
If there's a game 7 in the World Series and Buck Martinez throws out the first pitch, I think it's actually impossible that you lose that baseball game. Ziggy says John Gibbons in Game 6. We know the Dome loves Gibby. We we know the Dome loves Gibby, so that could
Why not
be.
Zygmunt Palffy? Just get Ziggy Palffy to
Yeah, get
throw it.
Ziggy to throw it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, could be fun. Hopefully, Game 6 goes better. Well, hopefully, first of all, let's get to a Game 6, and then hopefully that goes better than tonight did.
Yeah, and like it's whatever. Like just to kind of dismount from tonight, like you lost. You got beat by a really
Yeah,
good starting pitcher, just putting a performance in that's one for the ages. So it's a 7-game series. It wasn't going to be a walk in the park. Maybe gave us a little false confidence yesterday, just seeing how well they handled the Dodgers. But it's 1-1, best of 5. Next team to win 3 games is going to win this series, and you just keep up and carry on the way you are, and just try to go get them game 3 tomorrow, or on Monday.
exactly. Keep grinding, and we knew it was going to be a grind if the Jays were going to win this series. So keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, and keep your heads up because still got to get 3 more wins. You needed the same amount of wins to win this series as you did last night after the game. So I don't hate it. I'm not done. What are you gonna do tonight to shake this loss? What are you doing
Oh,
to get this out of the head?
that's a good question. It might just be right to bed.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not. I watched Jason 36 times last night before I went to bed. I don't think I'm gonna get to that number tonight, but Yeah, I actually have no interest in watching Yamamoto. So is there who's playing the late
Absolutely.
hockey game tonight? Maybe a little puck. I haven't watched too much hockey yet this year.
Oh, I don't know. I need a break from sports. I might like watch Hamilton on Disney Plus or something like
Okay.
that, like the Broadway musical. I don't know.
Fair enough. Whatever. Just get away from baseball. I think that maybe is the best piece of advice we
Exactly.
could leave you for the. Just get away from baseball. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, and we'll pick up on Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to this on Monday. All right, we're a little bit off the rails here. We're looking forward to Max Scherzer versus Tyler Glasnow at Dodger Stadium on
Yeah,
Monday. It'll be Game 3 of the World
let's
Series.
go.
Thank you to everybody that stuck with us through this live stream tonight. Jace Center has been having a lot of fun doing these. Mac and I, even at a loss, trying to make the best of it, having a good time, and cheering on our Jays. So thank you to everybody, and we will talk to you Monday night following, hopefully, a Blue Jays victory to go up 2-1 in the World Series. We'll talk to you then.